I was curious. Apparently, there was a situation where Mamdani condemned Hasan Piker. I am making a concerted effort to not fight with people who know that Donald Trump is terrible. I don't like Hassan, but I'm not. I'm gonna try to be not as aggressive towards these people. Um. Oh, what is good, Jen? Shout out Destiny. I didn't know Destiny was streaming. Shout out. Uh. So I'm curious to see what this disavowalment means, and I'm curious to see his reaction. I'm just curious. I don't hate Hassan like Destiny does. I just think this Hassan kind of sucks. But all right.
Zohran Mamdani, currently the frontrunner to be New York City's next mayor, is facing heat after comments that he made on the war in Gaza.
In an appearance on Fox News, Mamdani declined to say definitively whether or not Hamas should lay down its arms. Take a look at that.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas, that applies to the Israeli military, applies to anyone you could ask me about.
Those comments.
That answer. Very political answer. At this point, if I'm Mamdani, I don't see any reason why to not make that very clear distinction. But maybe he doesn't want to fall into a clip trap. Maybe he wants to make it very clear he sees the terrible nature of Hamas and Israel very similar. I don't know. I feel like that's a layup answer, but when it comes to politicians, they make things more difficult than it needs to be.
This came up again Thursday night, mayoral debate between Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, and Curtis Sliwa. When asked this time, Mamdani said, "Of course I believe that they should lay down their arms." But Cuomo wasn't satisfied with that response, and the former New York governor also brought up Mamdani's association with popular leftist influencer Hasan Piker.
The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said.
Wow. Hasan is being brought up in political debate. No matter how much I dislike Hasan, that is motion. You gotta admit that is motion. Hasan Piker with a little motion, negative motion, bad motion. But motion nonetheless.
His response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged.
Mamdani had a response ready, accusing Cuomo of not doing enough to embrace New York City.
Hey man, maybe this is the alley-oop you wanted.
Muslim community.
It took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10.
That's a good one. Oh, maybe let me do my reaction face. Let me move this mic real quick. Reaction face. I think that was like really good. Really good reaction face. All right.
Years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah.
Mamdani has maintained his large lead in the mayoral race since winning the Democratic primary in June. The second and final mayoral debate will be held on October 22nd.
Well, it's interesting that he did come out then and say that he thinks they should be disarmed. I thought the interview he did on Fox was mostly successful, and he did well. That was the one area that created a kind of viral moment where I thought it would have been perfectly easy for him to say that without getting into the weeds of the issue. I don't care that much, honestly, about his opinion. When they've tried to go after him for not being sufficiently pro-Israel or whatever, he's mayor of New York City. It doesn't matter to me. It feels like a little bit of a distraction. But this was a rather direct question that he dodged rather directly that I don't know why you wouldn't just say, well, yeah, they're a terrorist organization. Ideally, they would not possess weapons, especially when I looked back and in 2022, again, he was pretty woke pretty recently, tweeted like, we need to ban or confiscate or whatever it was. We need to ban all guns. Okay, you have no problem saying we need to ban all guns, but we can't ban guns specifically for Hamas. That seems like a flaw in your ideology, but he addressed that, so I'll move on.
So to the
Well, not necessarily a flaw in his ideology. The thinking behind arming Hamas is protection against Israel. And if you already deem Israel as a existential threat that can be very harmful towards the Palestinians, then an armed Hamas is the only defense technically against that. Now, do I think that is the strongest argument? No, but it does touch onto the moral side, especially of like far leftist pro-Palestinians. So maybe he still cares about those people's opinions. I mean, they're the ones advocating for him the most. So of course he cares about their opinions. I don't know. I'm just thinking like when it comes to the like cost risk analysis of answering the question, if he just said they shouldn't have weapons, would they react aggressively? There's a chance because they're reacting aggressively towards AOC of that one bill regarding funding for the Iron Dome. That was pretty dumb, to be honest. So maybe. I think his answer was still to the point saying that both of them should abide by international law. I think that was pretty poignant to understanding that he thinks that they both should stop fighting while also not giving enough leeway for the far leftists to crash out. Like thinking about it, the answers actually wasn't that bad.
Point about like, well, it's a New York City mayoral race, it shouldn't really matter. I think it does, in fact, matter what view people take of that conflict because it goes to issues of judgment and many people, including me, think issues of sort of basic morality about the world. So in Mamdani's case, you have someone who has been very critical of Israel's conduct in various ways. And in Andrew Cuomo's case, you have someone who volunteered to join Benjamin Netanyahu's defense team. That, to me, I mean, I think there are a lot of New Yorkers for which that divide is simply the divisive issue. Many, if I was casting a ballot, I would obviously be on Mamdani's side of that question. I accept that people are on Cuomo's side of it as well. In relation to the Hamas arms question, I mean, what he said in the debate last night was that both sides should put down their arms and that a ceasefire should mean that there should be a cessation, which seems a completely valid point to me. And what it seems to me he was getting at in the Fox interview on that issue was the propensity for people to assume that 100% of the responsibility for making peace lies with Hamas's actions, when in fact the last time there was a ceasefire it was Israel that broke it, and here there are questions about breaches of the ceasefire also from Israel's direction. Now, I hope the ceasefire lasts, I hope it endures, I hope it becomes a durable peace, but I think there is an understandable reluctance from people of Mamdani's point of view, or of my point of view for that matter, to be boxed into this idea where it becomes all about Hamas, when in fact it's not all about Hamas.
I mean,
I agree to what he said. I think that is very important to know when it comes down to Mamdani's answers. Even though I do think Hamas is a terrorist organization, and ever since Israel broke the ceasefire, that's how I view it as well. That Israel, for some reason, broke the ceasefire right when the election is about to start. I do think that's kind of shady. Israel's been absolutely unhinged, so there's really no leeway I can give Israel at this point, and I've never given leeway to Hamas. So when you have that point and you know that most of your base are pro-Palestine and pretty much hates Israel, having that more neutral stance benefits him the most in not casting aside his voters. And I've noticed that when it comes down to Mamdani, as of recently, that he has been focusing on being for the people instead of being for his side. And that's very important. It's kind of like the Joe Biden strategy with his own little flair and twist, being more left and more socialist. So that's very important. You have to appeal to all the people, especially if you want to be a candidate that makes a lot of noise. And I'm sure Mamdani is going to be the flag bearer to push more social democratic policies in the future as a testing ground. So you have to make this type of stuff appealing to everybody at the end of the day.
Look, with respect, I think that can sometimes feel like a false equivalency is being established, or equivalency is being established between Hamas and the government of Israel. Like, Hamas should be disarmed and should not.
You sell it,
So
we
this guy is
ship it.
very pro-Israel, it seems.
Be in charge of the Palestinians. The Israeli government, this specific Israeli government, Netanyahu, I would be happy to have him voted out of office. I think even if you're supportive of what Israel is doing, he presided over this awful.
Apparently he's going to run for re-election, and he's definitely going to have MAGA support.
Collapse of Israeli security, this awful thing that happened. I think it would be better for democracies to vote out their leaders when something goes catastrophically wrong. But he can be voted out and might be voted out because it is a democracy. They have a democratic government that he has tried to, you can say, argue, has chipped away at in various ways. But the infrastructure of the governance, not this specific administration, but the governance of Israel, I think is not illegitimate in the way that Hamas's leadership of Gaza is illegitimate, in that they seized power from the other Palestinian political faction and then banned elections and have persecuted.
Didn't they get voted in? I mean, this is not a technical argument that I really care about. It's really not about the kind of more semantical understanding of the powers who has control. It's the general perceived interpretation of the people and what they advocate for. I think I've moved away from like the actual details a lot when it comes to elections, because most people don't understand the details, nor do they care about the historical context. So it's really not like, if you want to have a 1v1 conversation, sure, but when you're appealing to the masses, you got to be very, very creative on how you frame a picture. And the current picture of Israel is that they are a evil government who wants to take out the Palestinian people, regardless if that's true or not. On Mamdani's side, he knows that's the case. So just playing with fire and trying to even seem like you're more siding with Israel versus the Palestinian
them. So
people.
they don't have a, even if I'm not, they're illegitimate to me in a way that the Israeli government is not illegitimate. I may disagree with it. I may think its current leader should be voted out of office, but there should be, this structure of government should rule Israel. This structure should not rule Gaza, is what I would say.
So without getting too deep into the weeds of events 20 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that there was the clash between Hamas and the Palestinians.
Okay, where's the Hasan Piker stuff? Where's the disavowalment of Hasan Piker? Where is that? Like, where's that? That's what I want to hear. Did I just waste my time? Did they clickbait me? All right. Mamdani denounces Hasan. That's what I'm trying to see. I don't want to. Okay. Where are they making this hard on me? Do I have to watch the full debate to find what I'm looking for?
Palestinian Authority was that Hamas won the elections in Gaza, even though the Palestinian Authority is much stronger in the West Bank, and the Hamas electoral victory was not recognized and was, that just wasn't permitted to go through. Now, you can argue about that one way or another. I think the broader point here, Robbie, is, and this has occurred with in debates about this topic a lot of times, people who are being occupied have a right to resist that occupation. I understand that lots of people don't like that or object to it or would like that not to be the case. But that is, in fact, a right that is outlined in international law and I think is a morally justifiable position. I do not, to be very clear, think that that justifies going in and murdering civilians, children or adult civilians for that matter, anybody. I mean, the things that happened on October 7th were clearly war crimes. Right. But the idea that it is just, that this is unrelated to the Israeli occupation of Palestine or Israeli actions, I think that's what people have problems with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a complicated issue. We all have a right to resist tyranny on some level, certainly. I think resistance that is going to be completely ineffectual and result in countermeasures that get everyone killed and the whole place destroyed are so futile as to.
Okay, where's the Hasan Piker clip? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, bro. Oh man, you guys just missed me going crazy. All right. They just lied to me. I'm looking for the clip. Are they going to require me to watch the entire debate? All right. Let's go. Let's find the debate. If they have transcripts, I should just be able to.
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is where humans and AI coordinate.
We want to now talk about the big New York City mayoral debate that happened yesterday.
I just want the full debate.
People
They make this so hard.
Not only just in New York City.
They made these best of. I don't want the best. I want the full thing. Here we go.
Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, senior politics editor at Politico, Sally Goldenberg, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate live on all NBC New York and Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms. Politico.com.
All right. Transcript. Let's see if I can just give me a search bar. Give me a search bar. Man, you didn't give me a search bar. You know what? YouTube just making my life hard. I wish there was a timestamp. Not even any timestamps. Okay. You spoke with President Trump. Group of Palestinians. You were asked if Hamas will lay down. Oh. I mean, that means humanitarian, like, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Found it.
Accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that the Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalize the intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hasan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you
Mr. Mamdani,
right on your
thank
suit
you.
jacket.
Melissa has another
We're going to
question.
turn it to silence.
Yeah, hey, he got it cut. Hey, that was a pretty good response. And I appreciate it. He made it very clear. He thinks that what Hasan Piker said was reprehensible. Made that very clear. He didn't play the more neutrality game here because there's really no excusing what Hasan Piker said at all. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting. Hey, I like I said, Mamdani is some interesting things that I do find it could provide something unique for American politics moving forward. But that was a good response in terms of the Hasan Piker stuff. Now, I'm curious. I'm curious. What does Hasan Piker think about that? Let's see if this is the right clip that I'm looking for. I already know my title. Mamdani abandons Hasan Piker. Clickbait. Clickbait. All right, I'm curious to see what his response is. I mean, Hasan's under a lot of heat right now, and I do think that maybe this could be a good reflection point because, I mean, he's very important for Democrats to win elections. That's just undeniable. Dude has motion. It might be negative motion, but he has motion nonetheless. Hopefully, this is a self-reflection point. We'll see.
And per your point, it was.
How am I getting 4 ads the moment I start your video? I low-key want to get YouTube Premium again. I miss it.
That wasn't being covered. Cuomo put forward no vision. He just quibbled how that was politics.
What was really good about what Zoran was doing is not only would he actually attack Cuomo, but he would do so within the confines of like a clear-cut policy agenda that he was advancing, where he'd be like, I'm going to do this, as opposed to what Cuomo did. So it was like a double bind in that regard. It was very good. But like I said, out of all of the people on stage that did not say anything mean about my 9/11 comments, I have to be a Curtis Lewa supporter.
Yeah.
I apologize, Zoran. I'll hit you up later. My mistake. I thought you were a real one for I was the Turkish Connect, because every New York mayor has to have a Turkish guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And sorry.
That's a pretty good joke. Shout out.
It's not going to happen for me any longer.
Have you come to terms with the fact that anyone who likes you at some point, if they get confronted on a question on a political level, they have to say that was a shit thing for him to say? Have you come to terms with that? No politician in America can go, he's using a grand poetic.
No, I think like it's been.
He didn't say the people in the tower specifically deserved it.
Yeah. No, I don't have any expectation that any politician is going to defend that statement on its face, and I don't expect them to. But I think it's like this is not even like a Jeremiah Wright style situation for Obama or like a Sister Soldier situation, because like, first of all, it's me. I'm so irrelevant in the grand scheme of things that like it.
No, stop playing. I hate when content creators do that. Now, when Destiny did it, he compared himself to Donald Trump. But in terms of like political reach in general, Destiny can't say that. Hasan definitely freaking can't say that. You're not irrelevant. if you're comparing yourself to Donald Trump, you're irrelevant. If you're just saying your impact on politics, there's no way you could say you're irrelevant. That is not a logical stance to have.
Not
Makes
even relevant,
no-
but what you're doing, you're not running a church, you're
Yeah.
not a politician,
Yeah.
and per your point, it was like, oh,
No, stop playing. I hate when content creators do this shit. They become millionaires. They have thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people watching them. They have people adopting their political ideology and their rhetoric. And you go, oh, he's not running a church. You have more impact than a lot of people have in a lot of local politics. So stop. A lot of people probably didn't vote for Kamala Harris because of your bullshit. Stop.
old 2020 bringing up tweets. It was
Yeah.
very like an old school thing.
Yeah,
that
it's like a statement from 2019 about like blowback that I misworded, but I don't expect any politician to like endorse that statement.
And it's the second beat. People would have to truly, the people who would care, who would be
Yeah.
bothered and not misunderstand and in bad faith take your comment, would don't know who you are. They're
Yeah.
older. They'd have to.
Bitch, fuck, what? What is this quote? Just say that I shouldn't have said that and I've grown past it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to say. I shouldn't have said that and I've grown past it. Now go like, well, there's a certain level of nuance behind the comments that I said. And they don't really know the person of like the fuck. Get out of here. What the fuck? What the fuck? What is that bullshit type of quote?
Look you up. They're not going to.
Yeah.
So it's just nothing. It's nothing.
I think he did a very good job of showcasing his positions. He did a very good job of what he's about, what he's advocating for. All the other stuff, I think, all the other attacks that he was going to endure, his associations with a dangerous criminal, Hasan Hamasabi Piker, or his statements about Israel and whatnot, I think he handled very well overall. But
I think I should get like a design right here because like my thing is fucked up right here. So maybe just getting a design right here would help because every time I look at this, it feels just not straight because of this one part of my hair. And this has been an issue for a while. I don't think it's necessarily me going balding. It could be, but this has been an issue for my hairline for a while. I think something around here, probably some skin cells died here from something happening in my past. I just don't know what it is.
like you asked initially, no, my expectation is much worse because like I thought there was a chance he could just like fuck me. Like I thought he was gonna be like, oh yeah, I condemn Hasan Piker.
Yeah, I learned about it. I never. I
He said condemn his whole character. He said what you said is reprehensible. I think that's pretty potent.
cut off all connection to this person.
Yeah, like just and
I unsubbed from the
fucking
stream.
straight up
I
also think
lied
this
on
is a
camera.
preview.
This is a preview of more and more millennial candidates. It's going to be a debate about tweets. It's going to be a debate about tweets from a certain era.
It's also stupid because like when Andrew Cuomo brings that up, like I think even if other candidates bring that up in a similar vein, because like I work with a lot of candidates, and I promote a lot of candidates. Like I have a community full of people ready to go for door knocking and stuff like that, and they were all over the Zoran campaign as well.
Yeah,
and that negative association stuff is never going to work for someone like myself because I'm a polarizing figure for sure.
Sure.
But like people know what my political positions are, no matter how hard like someone tries to bastardize them. And you either, if you know who I am, you either fucking despise me, which you know there's a smaller group of people who despise me than love me, but they're.
What is this delusion? Your political beliefs are the reason why people don't like you.
Very loud, or you're gonna be like, yeah, he's a progressive guy. I like what he's about. I like that he's a fighter, and that's all this is. So
check out Hot Shots.
So Hasan's just delusional. Okay. Hey man, when you have the guy that you like calling you out, and you have no, Hasan is known to never really reflect on the things he does. He's full of shit all the time, which is why that dog controversy got so big because he was full of shit the entire time. That's just his character, man.